Hello world, welcome back to RTR RC. Time to do another video. This time I'm going to be talking about what I think is the best RC car under $300. That's $300 US here in the United States. And my top two choices are the Arrma Granite 4x4 BLX on the left here and the Team Associated ProSC10. I've owned both of these vehicles, enjoy them quite a bit. There are other cars in this class. You know, there's stuff from like Red Cat, the MT10E I think it's called. Traxxas has like a Rustler 4x4, but it's like a brushed edition. So in my opinion, these are the two best RC cars under $300 that you can buy today. They're a little bit different types of vehicles, and the Arrma Granite here on the left actually is a platform that's shared with the Sen10 4x4 and the new Big Rock 4x4 BLX. They're pretty much all the same car. You know, the Granite's got a little bit shorter chassis, but it's just got the monster truck body and monster truck tires. Sen10 is basically the same thing with just a little bit longer chassis with the short course body and short course tires. And then the new Big Rock is basically the same as a Sen10, but with a monster truck body and monster truck tires. So they're all pretty much the same platform. They share like 95% of the same parts, and you know, basically are very similar. And then for Team Associated, they have the ProSC10. What this basically is a ready to run rear motor version of their SC5M. Their SC5M was their previous generation two-wheel drive short course truck. They made a ready to run rear motor version of that. And then this is also a platform that's also shared with a couple other vehicles. So the Trophy Rat, the Reflex DB10, they're all exactly the same car, just have a different body. They actually have the same tires and wheels, so there's pretty much no difference between the Trophy Rat, the Reflex, and this, the ProSC10. Now, do not confuse this with the ProSC 4x4. Do not confuse this with the SC10. This is actually a totally different vehicle. SC10 was based off their B4, basically, their old school two-wheel drive buggy, and the ProSC 4x4 is completely different from this vehicle. It's a 4x4 vehicle, not even really a race kit. This still has its roots tracing back to other race kits like the B5 and the SC5M, so totally different vehicle. Okay, so the first thing to talk about is the radio that these kits come with. On the left here is the Tactec TTX 300. This is the radio that comes with the Arrma Granite 4x4 BLX. Very nice radio, actually my favorite RTR radio. Just well constructed, has all the adjustments you need. They're nicely held here on the left and over here on the back side. All the servo reversing, on-off switch, etc. The wheel feels really good, the trigger feels really good, just the right amount of tension. And then the big thing is it actually has endpoint adjustment, so you can actually adjust how far the servo will go, turn left and fully right for the steering. And then over here on the right is the Team Associated XP120. Decent radio. It again also has, you know, pretty much all the adjustments you need. It does not have EPA, but it does have steering dual rates, so that's fine. Servo reversing, all these little knobs here. Decent radio. The trigger is a little light. The wheel feels okay. It gets the job done, but in my opinion, the Tactec is the better radio between these two cars. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the build, and what I mean by the build is basically how it came out of the box straight from the manufacturer, and if there are any issues or defects and stuff. The Arrma Granite was very good overall, really no issues at all. The turnbuckles were kind of reversed on some of these things on the front and back, but overall really had no issues. For the ProSC10, I did have a few flaws. Some of the O-rings and the shocks were actually the wrong size, so I had to replace those. One of the screws on the shock was actually the wrong length, different size. Slipper was set a little bit tight, but not a big deal. That was pretty much it. Overall, the kit was assembled pretty well. Definitely could just take it out of the box and just start running with it, so no real issues there. But overall, I'm going to give the build over to the Arrma Granite. It just came pretty much flawlessly out of the box. Next category I want to talk about is the design. And so these are two totally different types of vehicles, right? This is a 4x4 monster truck. It's intended for bashing only. This over here on the ProSC10 is basically based off of a race kit. It's got its roots straight from the SC5M and B5 rear motor, but then they basically turned it into a basher, right? They came out with the plastic chassis, came out with the rear motor. They kind of simplified some of the components and taking out some of the adjustments. But in terms of design, this is a very classic rear motor, two-wheel drive platform. Pretty much everything is laid out as you would expect. Comes with all the adjustments you would normally expect. Shock locations on the tower, camber link locations, ride height adjustment, spring tension, all that kind of stuff. In addition to that, basically all of the standard race kit hop-up parts will fit and straight bolt on to this kit. So I've actually upgraded some things, like I changed out the drag link here. I'm running the aluminum camber block here, the C block. Basically allows you to adjust toe and toe and anti-squat. I'm also changed out the kick-up plate. So the really cool thing about this design is it is fully upgradable to as much race spec as you want. You can make all the adjustments that you need to get this performing as well as possible. Now the Arrma Granite is quite different. It's basically purely a basher. There are no adjustments for like shock locations, camber link locations. You can at least adjust the turnbuckles and stuff, but overall this is just a straight basher, a heavy duty design. Weighs a ton actually, and in my opinion it's probably a little easier to work on. Like all these components kind of come out as individual modules. Like you have electronics module here, you have the power module which has the motor, the spur gear, the slipper clutch, everything all kind of combined in one piece. The diffs kind of come out nicely. So a little bit better design in terms of working on it, but without any adjustments at all. Basically, I mean, you can just body height and serve these turnbuckles, and that's pretty much it on this kit. It kind of comes the way it is, and you can't really make changes. Even like the motor plate here has specific pinion sizes. You can only run like a 15 tooth, a 20 tooth, and I think like a 28 tooth. So you can't even really run like a 17 tooth pinion. So a little bit odd overall, but the design is quite good. But I have to give it to the Team Associated ProSC10. The transmission is a little bit hard to get to. It does have a lot of body mounts and bumpers and stuff that you got to take off, but the amount of tunability is just way higher than this. So overall, I do like the design of the ProSC10 better. Next category is performance, and the Arrma Granite is pretty amazing. For a monster truck, it doesn't really drive like a monster truck, right? Has a ton of traction, has a very powerful ESC and motor, handles really well. The suspension setup is pretty much perfect with the shocks and stuff. It's just an awesome driving vehicle overall. Very high performance. It is faster than the ProSC10. I think the ESC, the motor, are quite a bit faster. Obviously with four-wheel drive, you're gonna have more traction. These tires are also better than the stock tires here on the ProSC10, which really are only good for the street in my opinion. So performance overall is quite a bit higher on the Granite. Servos are actually exactly the same spec, so I don't think there's a difference there, but the electronics, the four-wheel drive, it actually jumps and lands a lot better, much better suspension overall, so I'm going to give the advantage to the Arrma Granite. On the ProSC10 side, I mean, you will have to do a little bit of tuning with the shocks, and change out some shock fluids, probably put on a different set of tires, maybe mess around with like battery replacement and stuff. So it's really not quite there out of the box. The Granite is just really ready to go out of the box, runs really well. You don't have to make any changes. The ProSC10, you're gonna find that you probably wanna make a few changes, and overall is not quite as fast, or I don't think handles quite as well as the Granite. So overall in performance, I'm gonna go with the Arrma Granite. Moving on to durability, and Arrma is well known for having super durable kits, and the Arrma Granite is no exception. I mean, everything on this is massively oversized. The drive shafts, the arms, the knuckles, the steering blocks, everything is just hugely sturdy and well built. The chassis is super indestructible. The shock towers are massive. So overall durability on the Arrma Granite is extremely high. I mean, this is probably the most durable RC car I've ever owned. The ProSC10 is not bad. I mean, considering especially that it's based off a race platform, it's actually fairly durable. I have broken a few things. I've broken an arm. What else? I broke some bumpers and some body posts and stuff like that. Nothing too major. Overall, the platform that this is based off, which is the B5 and SC5M, is actually a really durable line of RC cars. especially for race kits, but obviously there's no comparison in durability. I mean, just look at the arms on this thing and the arms on this thing, the bumpers, everything. This thing is massively durable. This thing is pretty good, but nothing can beat the Arrma. So in terms of durability, I have to give the nod to the Arrma Granite 4x4. Okay, the next category is what I call support and maintenance, and basically this refers to how easy is it to get parts for these kits? How easy is it to talk to somebody and actually get some warranty support? Can you get parts at your local hobby store? Does stuff go out of stock, etc.? Arrma's not bad. I mean, they're sort of mid-pack in terms of support. Stuff does go out of stock on occasion. Like, for example, you can't get a spurger yet for this Arrma Granite 4x4, which is kind of annoying. You know, most of the other stuff you can actually get, but definitely things are not always available. With Team Associated, almost all the time, I mean, pretty much you can get parts everywhere, online, your local hobby store, etc. Stuff doesn't go out of stock for very often or for too long. I mean, stuff might occasionally go out of stock, but generally will come back in stock within a month or so. That's not the case with Arrma. I mean, definitely there are times you're going to be waiting for parts on the Arrma. So in terms of support, maintenance, I have to give the nod to the Team Associated. I think it's a better supported platform. Maintenance is also generally fairly simple because it's two-wheel drive, although it is hard to get to that transmission. Maintenance on the Arrma Granite is pretty good overall. I'm not too fond of this power module in general just because it's a pain in the butt to kind of get out sometimes. But yeah, overall I have to give the nod to the Team Associated. Okay, now with regards to price, these two kits are both exactly $299, so they are exactly the same price. I do think the Arrma Granite is better though, just because it's four-wheel drive, just because it has a much better motor and ESC, much better tires, the body is crazy durable. The ProSC10, I mean, it's two-wheel drive. It's a fair price, but this ESC, for example, I think is only 60 amps. The motor is not quite as powerful. You can definitely tell a difference in speed between both of these. I mean, they're both 2S and 3S capable, but even just running them on 2S, the Granite is quite a bit faster. Yeah, I mean, the Arrma Granite, I guess, does have quite a bit of plastic, but so does the Team Associated. Team Associated at least has aluminum shocks, but pretty much everything else on this kit is plastic. Granite's got better radio, probably better body overall. I think a little bit better manufactured. So overall, in terms of value, I think the Arrma Granite is the winner here. Both of them are pretty good value overall. I mean, $300 is actually a really nice price point for getting a high quality RC vehicle, and both of these are high quality RC vehicles, and I definitely would, you know, say either of these is a good buy. But overall, I have to give the value nod to the Arrma Granite. Okay, so that's pretty much it. What do I think is the best kit for under $300? Before I answer that, I do want to mention something. These are different types of vehicles. Obviously, the ProSC10 is more of a race style vehicle that they converted into a basher, so it is going to be eligible for actually racing at your local track if you're actually running a sanctioned class with particular road rules or whatever you're going to run. So there's nothing that really runs the monster truck class. This is not a race vehicle. You're going to have a hard time finding anyone to race against, like in official racing. So if you're thinking about racing, you would definitely want to buy the ProSC10. It makes a good basher, yet it still has all the adjustments and tunability and upgrade path if you want to make it a little more of a racer. Now, obviously, it's not as fast as, you know, the dedicated race kits like the SC 6.1 and what have you. But if you want something that kind of do both, ProSC10 is a good choice. Now, in terms of bashing, the Granite is better. It's just indestructible, it's faster, it's better on different types of terrain. You can drop it from 20 feet up in the air and nothing's going to break. So for bashing, definitely you would want to go with the Arrma Granite 4x4. Now, which of these would I want to buy? You know, let's say you've got a kid that you want to get them a Christmas present, or, you know, somebody you know that is looking to get into RCs. Which of these two would I recommend? I would definitely recommend the Arrma Granite 4x4. It's just a much more capable vehicle. It's really hard to break. I mean, the only thing I've ever broken, I think, is this front bumper here. Everything else has just been completely solid, and I thrashed it way more than I have the Pro SC10, and I've broken much more things on the Pro SC10. So it's pretty newbie friendly. I mean, it's fairly straightforward. A little bit hard to get parts. This is really the major downside. If you break something, you may have to be waiting around a little while to get it fixed, which could be kind of annoying if this is your first RC car. But just due to how capable it is, how fast it is, and how much of just much more durable vehicle it is than the Team Associated, I'm going to go with the Arrma Granite 4x4 for my pick for best RC car under $300. Either of these kits is fine. I'm not gonna hate on anybody if they buy a Team Associated. Obviously, I have one, and I drive this a ton too, so I do like both of these kits. But overall, I think the Arrma Granite 4x4 is the better kit. So, anyways, that's my conclusion. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the ad notifications button, share with your friends, all that good stuff, and look for more videos soon. Bye.